Hey there and welcome back to XCOM 2. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Legend Ironman walkthrough of XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Last time we left off after completing our very first Advent Facilities sabotage mission. As a result, we have slightly set back the progress bar on the Avatar project, and we were also introduced to Specialist Oscar Zucchini Soler, who, from what I could tell in the comments, quickly became a fan favorite. At the end of the episode then, we received this mission from the Skirmishers. We need to rescue a scientist and his sharpshooter companion from enemy territory, although the enemies in this case will consist entirely of the Lost, so this should hopefully not be too difficult.
Setting course for the Western European Ward.
Commander, you should be aware, we're detecting Lost activity in this area. Our forces will need to be especially vigilant.
So here's our squad for this one, all familiar faces, including the return of Specialist Zucchini, as well as the MVP of some of our earliest missions, Ranger Helleborus. So no Reaper for a change, I don't think this mission really needs one, and with that we can already get going and see what awaits us.
Ranger deployed.
In position for deployment.
One of the Resistance factions sent some kind of expeditionary force into an area that we know to be completely overrun by the Lost. Don't ask me what they were doing down there, but now they've gotten themselves stranded, and the Resistance is asking for our help. We'll have to do what we can to avoid being overrun. The Resistance expedition is trapped not far from your position, and the VIP is using a remote turret to hold off the Lost. We only have one clear access point to the area, so get to the target's location and escort them back to the entry point for extraction. The whole place is overrun with Lost. Don't bother trying to outgun them. After you secure the expedition, you'll have to return to our original entry point for extraction. Don't get overrun. Keep the path back to Firebrand clear.
And yes indeed, this is the situation. Our scientist, as well as the unfortunately already downed sharpshooter, are hiding behind a turret. However, they only have ammo left for 4 more turns, after which their position will get overrun. So that is how quickly we need to get to them, and I would say that's manageable. Although that is of course only half the mission. Afterwards we then need to bring both of them back to the extraction zone over here. For a change, we are also not starting this mission out in concealment, that is, except for Ranger Helleborus, who thanks to his phantom ability can now safely scout ahead.
Dann mal los.
Okay, and as expected, we have discovered the first 2 groups of Lost, and with this mission featuring only Lost, stealth will likely not play a huge role for us, especially considering that, unlike with our stealth-focused Reaper, the Lost's detection radius against our Ranger here is quite a bit larger. Still, let's try to stay hidden for at least the first turn, moving everyone up just outside of the Lost's line of sight, which should put us in a good position for a couple of reaction shots. And as you can see, Helleborus then also immediately loses his concealment for being flanked, so yes, the phantom ability is no match for a Reaper, still he should be far enough away from any enemies here to not risk getting hurt.
By the numbers.
Right, so our reaction shots were moderately successful, I'd say. At this point then, we need to clear some of the enemies out, and as our frontliner, Helleborus gets first shot privileges, so we'll have him take 3 guaranteed kills in a row to start us off here.
Macht jemand Striche?
Lovely. Now following that, we can move Sharpshooter Sapphire West up onto the high ground. From here, she has at least 1 guaranteed pistol kill, most likely though a few more than that.
Hostile terminated.
Right, so far so good. That leaves only 2 enemies on our left side standing, but at the moment they are too far away to reach us in one turn anyway. So with time being a rather sensitive issue, let's use our turn here to make some advancements. Helleboris will most likely be the one to make contact with our targets first, so let's inch him up just a few tiles further with Templar Logan close on his heels, while the rest of the squad waits for the enemies to get closer and goes on Overwatch.
Come on, focus. The expedition has limited ammo reserves. If that turret runs out, the Lost are going to make quick work of them. We need to reach the group before that happens.
Right, so you may have just noticed it, Specialist Zucchini just earned himself a promotion for that reaction fire kill. Grenadier Nicholas unfortunately wasn't quite as lucky, so we still have 1 enemy left standing. And just like that, with only 2 turns left, our mission timer has also just reached critical levels. So let's continue to move up with Helleboris here, who thankfully does not detect any further enemies, and as a result we then use the rest of his turn to move even further. Ideally we do still want to have an action left after making contact. The rest of the squad then continues to follow suit, except for sharpshooter Alyssa. She will most likely remain up here for the entire rest of the mission, and can at this point finish off the last remaining enemy for now.
Hostile target down.
And with that, we once again go on Overwatch and see what happens on the enemy turn.
They're almost out of ammo for the turret, Commander. We have to get moving.
Alright, so this is it. We need to make contact on this turn here. Unfortunately though, we also just had a new swarm of Lost appear, and well, as we send in Helleboris to complete our first objective, things get even more interesting still.
Endlich! VIP is secure, Commander. If we can spare the manpower, we should try to bring the escort in as well. Without the VIP manning the turret controls, there's nothing keeping the Lost from overrunning this area. They're already closing in.
Right, so we have beaten the timer, but at the cost of the appearance of 4 Lost Dashers, and they are already uncomfortably close to us. On the bright side, we have also just gained control over our new scientist, Chepan P. If we do indeed manage to rescue them, a full biography will follow at the end of the episode. The advertised sharpshooter, meanwhile, is downed and will need to be carried out of here, and unfortunately, Chepan can't take care of that himself, so one of our soldiers will have to do that. For the moment though, I would say those Lost, especially the Dashers, are the more pressing issue, so let's start cleaning house a bit with sharpshooter Sapphire West.
Target neutralized.
With her ammo depleted, her turn is then over quickly though, so it's up to Nicholas next, and it would definitely be helpful if you could hit that 87%er here. Alright, that is 1 high hit point enemy dealt with, the rest should hopefully be no trouble. Even if we don't manage to kill all of them with Zucchini here, being just regular Lost, they are all too far away to hit us on the next turn. Nicholas, meanwhile, will then try his luck against one of the Dashers in the distance. The 4 of them are currently by far the biggest threat on the map, and chances are they won't remain at that number for long. Unfortunately though, the shot goes wide, and so we now need to retreat. As always, we'll put ourselves right at the top of some ladders, so that the Dashers can't climb up to us or will need to take extensive detours. In the process, we also discover a 12 hit point brute, but as you can see, they are very slow, and therefore still a couple of turns away from actually reaching us.
Target neutralized.
So for the moment, Templar Logan can lay down some fire and actually earn himself a promotion in the process.
Hostile terminated.
And while we're at it, we might as well try to soften up the Dasher here too. His auto pistol does have unlimited ammo after all. Ranger Helleboris then throws his axe to get rid of one of those Dashers before moving up to the high ground himself. Again, staying right on top of the ladder here should protect him from being attacked on the next turn. The same then goes for our scientist, and with that our turn comes to an end. And yes indeed, we will now have lost swarms appear every single turn, so clearing out the map is really not going to be possible. We simply need to escape.
Firebrand is in position. Get back to the entry point for extraction before you get overrun. We're picking up more heat signatures than the sensors can keep up with.
And yes indeed, Bradford points it out to us as well here, there really is no point sticking around any longer than necessary. However, looking at the situation here, we also can't just calmly run back to the evac zone, especially not with all of those dashes around. Thankfully, they have all swarmed onto Ranger Helleboros, who now has an easy time taking them out, and after doing so, still has enough movement left to make it back to our downed sharpshooter.
Genug gewartet.
And for the next turn, he should be safe here, that is, if Templar Logan can take out the last dasher in the area.
X-ray neutralized.
And that he can, meaning that Grenadier Nicholas can now hopefully take care of his one. Alright, lovely. So far no high percentage shot misses just yet, so now we can start getting a bit more creative, for example with Templar Logan, who can use his rent attack on the Lost next to Helleboros. Now sadly, this does not get us the kill and it also detects another group, but they are all regular Lost, so no immediate threat, and this actually also allows Logan to activate parry, meaning he will negate all damage from the next attack made against him. And so, with the most pressing matters already attended to, we can get in some reloads and move our scientist back a bit further, and then the rest of our squad once again goes on Overwatch.
Moving to Overwatch.
Moving to Overwatch. I'll get him next time.
Alright, so not exactly the most successful round of reaction fire here, but with Logan parrying the attack here as expected, we still have not taken a single point of damage.
Incoming, over here!
And even with the Lost getting closer and closer, I think we should be able to keep it that way. Still, we should probably continue to clear them out, and thankfully Logan here has 2 guaranteed kills, after which we then start focusing on the Brute here, which is unfortunately blocking Logan's and Helleboros' escape route. With Alyssa's shot only dealing 5 points of damage though, the kill for Nicholas here is not guaranteed even if he hits, so let's see what he can do.
That's right.
Alright, lovely. That is the Brute now eliminated, and that means Helleboros can start working on his escape. Although, as you can see, he won't be going alone, taking our downed sharpshooter with him. Specialist Zucchini then moves up a bit, in the hopes of perhaps landing 1 or 2 more kills. His aim stat, of course, a bit reduced compared to the last mission, simply because bringing the one-shot boltcaster would not have made any sense. Still, Oscar clears out both enemies, and that leaves Logan to once again melee attack another dasher.
Hostile terminated.
And once again he can use parry to keep himself safe afterwards, although I don't think there are any enemies close enough to actually hit him. Scientist Shepard then once again makes a beeline for the evac zone, and with that another turn comes to a close and we can get ready for the next swarm of Lost.
Got it covered. Enemy is still up.
This time then, the situation looks a bit dicey for our Templar Logan, but before we deal with that, let's complete our first main objective, as we can already safely evacuate our new scientist.
Firebrand is the VIP safely on board the Sky Ranger.
Right, so at this point only our squad and the sharpshooter remain, so let's begin by having Logan clear himself some space.
Target neutralized.
And then we can dash back as far as possible. From what I can tell, there are no dashers close enough to actually reach him here. With Helleboris then also making his way towards the evac zone, the rest of the squad holds position. Yes, we could of course rush for the escape right now, but I think we should try to collect as many kills as possible without putting anyone into harm's way.
On overwatch. Todo cubierto.
Overwatch!
Menace 1-5, keep pushing towards the evac point. No matter what you do, you're never gonna make a dent in the Lost. There's just too many coming in.
And as if the situation could not be more clear, Bradford then also spells it out again for us. Yes, the Lost here will keep coming forever, so at some point we'll have to decide to just leave them be. That point does not have to be now though, as Zucchini here takes out another dasher. And Sharpshooter Sapphire West can use her Lightning Hands ability to take out another one.
X-ray neutralized.
This also earns her the promotion to Lieutenant, making her the highest ranking sharpshooter we have. And to celebrate, let's dish out a few more high percentage shots here. Of course, only against those targets she can potentially hit in one shot. At this point though, I think it's time to slowly start retreating. After all, the Lost will keep running after us regardless, so collecting a few more kills should definitely be doable, but we are very much getting closer to the land of diminishing returns. And even though Helleboris does make it into the evac zone already here, we will not send him away just yet. If possible, I would like to evacuate everyone together, just to be safe.
On overwatch. Target down.
And so another swarm appears and the Lost are definitely starting to close in on us. We probably have 1 or 2 more turns here before we actually can't retreat any further. I would say though that we don't necessarily need to put that theory to the test. Still, we have at least 1 more turn, or rather we need to have, because on this one not all of our soldiers can actually make it into the evac zone, and so we might as well collect a few more kills with one who can, before the rest then dashes into or at least near our destination. Also, with the enemies getting closer, let's not forget to block the ladder here. Who knows, there might be a dasher hiding somewhere in the shadows.
I'm on it.
Mir geht nichts.
Alright, here we are then. I think this is our final turn. Looking at it, we could probably drag this out for a little longer and farm a few more kills, but, and I think I have mentioned this before, the number of XP gained from killing Lost is so low that I don't think it's worth it. So what we'll do here is collect a few more freebies with our sharpshooter and then move her into the evac zone. Templar Logan can then guarantee the kill on the dasher here with another rend. And using that ability also now allows him to move again afterwards, and with that everyone is where they should be, so as soon as Ranger Helleboris has picked his target back up, we can make use of the recently installed EVAC All mod.
Packen wir die
and watch as our crew lifts off in beautiful synchrony.
We've extracted the VIP's escort. Once we get him patched up, he should be ready to rejoin the fight.
All XCOM operatives are secure. Firebrand is returning to base.
We successfully rescued the expedition, Commander. The Resistance will be happy to hear it.
Alright, there we go, with 42 enemy kills in another flawless mission. Admittedly, the Lost are definitely not the most challenging enemies, but still, the Dashers can be a bit of a nuisance, so I would say we handled this quite well. Not to mention that we also got ourselves 2 new guys out of it, one of which is displayed right here in the mission photo.
According to Advent officials, recent attacks by dissident elements operating outside of the city centers have done little to slow the progress of Advent's ongoing development or outreach programs. Voluntary citizen emigration numbers are reportedly at their highest level in recent years.
Executed to the highest standards. Excellent work, Commander.
Right, so here we are back home with 3 promotions to hand out, the first of which going to Sharpshooter Sapphire West. Now, in my opinion, both abilities here are really good. Death from above means that any high ground kill shot no longer ends Alyssa's turn, potentially allowing her to move or use her pistol afterwards. Quick Draw, meanwhile, is kind of the other way around, meaning that pistol shots no longer end our turn, essentially allowing Alyssa to fire twice in one turn. Still, the potential damage output of 2 pistol shots can usually not keep up with the damage of a pistol and a sniper shot, even if the latter is somewhat situational, so we'll go with Death from Above. Moving on then, it's our Templar Logan, and as you can see, we have a grand total of 4 abilities to choose from. Those 4 are Overcharge, Pillar, Stun Strike and Lightning Hands, the latter being the randomly chosen XCOM skill, which I don't think synergizes too well with the Templar class, but it's free damage, so I think we'll pick it up at some point. Choice number 2 then is Stun Strike, which I think the game really does a poor job explaining here. The most important missing bit is that unlike Rend, it's not actually guaranteed to hit. Additionally, it is also not mentioned here that the ability has a 20% chance to stun the target, and also that it does not end the Templar's turn. And I would say all of those are very important aspects in whether or not we eventually pick this up. Choice number 3 then is Pillar, in my opinion a rather underwhelming ability. Simply put, there is hardly ever any reason to summon additional high cover on the map, and we can't take our Templar with us everywhere we go anyway on the off chance that it is. That brings us to Overcharge, which does pretty much exactly what it says here. Every Rend attack now has a 33% chance of generating focus. Normally it only does that if the ability leads to a kill. Now, down the line, this will be a very useful ability, as focus is really the Templar's main resource. However, for the time being, we'll skip it in favor of Stun Strike, simply because that adds another potentially useful standalone ability, and even with the weaknesses it has, it synergizes very well with Rend. But of course, picking up either Overcharge or even Lightning Hands at this level would be a viable choice as well. Finally then, we have Specialist Zucchini, and I think we'll move him down the path of Combat Hacker for now. For now, I think we are doing a very good job of keeping everyone safe, so leveling up a second medic seems a bit wasteful. And there we go with a full view of our new scientist, Chepan P, as always a community-created character, this one submitted by patron supporter Chepan Pangowski. From Poland, Chepan was separated from his family during the invasion. He wound up fighting his way across the world, apparently surviving on his own for the past several years. Short and to the point, thank you very much, and now he has a new home in our science department. By the way, if you would like to submit a character of your own for the series, then you can find a video explaining exactly how to do that linked down below.
A glorious battle! Advent stands no chance against our combined might, Commander.
And yes indeed, let's not forget that Chepan was not the only one we rescued. Alongside 95 units of intel, we have also just acquired the services of Sharpshooter Sergeant Hadrian Redonis. We'll check out his biography in just a second, but I have to say, in terms of new personnel, this mission was a huge success. The only thing missing perhaps was another engineer, but I'm hoping that one is available in the next Guerilla Ops. For now though, let's meet our new sharpshooter Hadrian Redonis, nicknamed Luna, a 38-year-old from the United States, created by patron supporter Ray Mason. And you can see his biography on the left side here, a fresh squaddie from the first campaign 20 years ago. Once he heard that the resistance was rising up, he felt he needed to get back at the ones who so violently broke and remade the world. Also, he's got a fascination with wolves that came from living in the country. So, Lunar Adonis, welcome to our ranks, and I think we'll level you up more along the lines of a pure sharpshooter, taking Long Watch as always, and then following that up with Deadeye at the sergeant level. Now, I also just noticed that we have a soldier bond to confirm, as Templar Logan and Specialist Zucchini are apparently very much compatible. So let's confirm their level 1 bond and cement it with a poster too.
If anything, I fear we are making it easier for them to catalog our people.
At this point then, one last thing we need to take care of, and that is to change Logan's nickname. The character was originally submitted with the nickname Ghost, and now that he is a sergeant, we can finally change it back to that. And with that, I don't think our team needs any further maintenance for now. So instead, let us keep scanning for a bit and see what we've got coming up next. Okay, so we have found another rumor. This one would unlock a supply raid mission, and honestly, those don't pop up too often and are a great source of valuable resources. And I think 8 days of scanning, that is a fair price to pay for that.
Avenger plotting new course.
You can see it in the top right, by the way, especially our alloys are running very low right now. As a matter of fact, their low number is currently also limiting us from purchasing the magnetic sniper rifle, so I think unlocking another supply raid here makes a lot of sense.
There were some casualties during that last covert action, Commander, but our troops will all recover after some well-earned rest.
Alright, and in the meantime, our covert action is completed. Sadly, sharpshooter Smooth B did get injured in the process, but we did recover 2 Illyrium cores and, more importantly, secured another promotion for Starfall Antac. Now, we'll take care of that in just a second, but for now, let's choose our next covert action.
Commander, I've learned that we have new opportunities to strike at the Elders, should you wish to pursue them.
And of course, it's not just the Templars offering us some interesting missions here. Going through the list here, we can see that we actually have several missions available that offer another promotion, so if we wanted to, we could level up Starfall Antac once more immediately. In terms of the main rewards then, the most intriguing ones are likely the 2 at the bottom of the Skirmisher list, as both a new engineer as well as a free resistance contact would be very valuable at this stage in the game. And I think of those 2 we will go with recruiting the engineer. Having only 3 of them is decidedly not enough at this stage, so let us attempt to correct that. Taking part in this covert action will then be our brand new sharpshooter Lunar Adonis, while we give the mobility reward to Ranger Heliborus. I think as a scouting ranger that does make some sense. Lacking the alloys, we can then unfortunately not negate the risk of anyone getting injured, but we are sending out 2 people here who are not really part of our core rotation, so I think even if one of them gets hurt, it should be fine.
My kind will do whatever is needed.
And with another covert action underway, let us now take care of Starfall Antac's promotion, as he has just advanced to the rank of Captain, the first of our soldiers to achieve this. And just like with Sapphire West earlier, the choice here becomes a bit more difficult thanks to 2 rather useful abilities. Implacable would give him an extra action to spend on movement if he happens to kill anything on his turn. This is very similar to the extra movement that Templars get after using Rend, and it is extremely useful to get into dangerous flanking positions and then retreating back into safety a bit further away. Bladestorm, on the other hand, is very similar to Close Combat Specialist from the first game, giving the Ranger free sword attacks against any enemies entering or attacking from melee range. Importantly, this ability triggers before the enemy can attack themselves, so it can be paired with a melee attack on the Ranger's turn to essentially get 2 free strikes. It is, however, a melee-only ability, and that is why we are going with Implacable for the moment, as that one triggers on both gun and melee kills. It is just a bit more versatile in that way, and I would like Starfall here to be the same. Now, arguably even more important than unlocking a new ability for him is what we have just unlocked in the Guerrilla Tactics School, because advancing a soldier to the rank of Captain has just unlocked the Squad Size 2 upgrade. And of course, we will purchase it immediately, and as a result, we are now finally able to field a full squad of 6 soldiers. In addition, the Ranger-specific bonus Hunter's Instinct has also been unlocked, and since it only costs supplies and we have plenty of those, I don't see any reason not to pick it up. From now on, all of our Rangers will deal an extra point of damage on flanking attacks, and they also get a plus 10% crit chance on all sword attacks. And with all of that taken care of, let's scan for just a little while longer. Perhaps we can already find out what our next mission is going to be. Right, so it looks like it's time for this month's Guerilla Ops. Let's see what we're dealing with. Okay, so the mission in Eastern Europe already looks very promising. Countering the alien infiltrator dark event is not that much of a priority, I think. However, recruiting another engineer very much is. The show of force sitrep then means that the mission will only feature advent units, so no chance of running into aliens like sectoids, vipers or mutons, definitely something that makes the mission a bit more predictable. East Africa then offers us intel, which is always good to have. The difficulty here is also only moderate, and we would counter the barrier dark event, which again I don't think is absolutely necessary. All in all though, this might be the easiest of the 3 missions. West Africa then once again a difficult one, also offering what is arguably the worst reward in supplies, and countering the alloy padding dark event, which we have already started to sort of work against with the extra armor-piercing resistance order. So I think I have a clear favorite here, and it's not in Africa, but feel free to let me know which mission you think we should take. And with that choice still left to make and eagerly awaiting your comments, I think we have reached a good point to make the cut for today. I think, especially with that captain promotion and subsequently the squad size 2 upgrade, we made more progress today than it may seem. In the next episode then we might very well be able to pick up 1 or maybe even 2 engineers, so I think, all in all, we are in a very good position. And with that, let's wrap things up for today. As always, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.